Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. My name is Jared Lee, and I'm joined, as usual, by my lovely wife, Jamie Lee. So, Jamie, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, Jared. How are you?
I'm good. I think, almost recovered from a hectic 2 days because we were at Disney, and then we stopped by Universal very quickly on the way home, and so. Had a fun little couple of days. Went to what we're going to talk about today, the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party. Mm-hmm. Did some resort things because we stayed at Caribbean Beach.
It was very much a resort weekend plus the Halloween party.
Yeah, because the Halloween party is really the only thing we did in the parks.
You and our daughter did
all of us.
Thing.
Yeah. I had which it was nice that me and my daughter, we had like a little daddy-daughter day, like early in the morning. Hollywood Studios, and we won't do a full review on that, I don't think so.
Well, what we could do, and I think that would be really cool to do for people that are wondering about like rope dropping strategies, I think we can talk about what you guys did on a future episode. Yeah,
I would think so, but spoiler, you can get quite a bit of stuff done.
Spoiler,
especially with the early entry hours if you're on property.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
But that was fun, and then that helped beat the heat a little bit. So luckily, it wasn't too hot for us all weekend, which is...
How did we get so lucky?
I'm not sure. It was really warm, so we stopped by Universal just on the way home on Saturday. I'm losing track of my days. On Saturday. And it was hot, but it still wasn't as bad as it has been. Mm-hmm. So that was definitely the hottest day. But yeah, for the party, I mean, it was not bad for us.
Well, it was cloudy, and it had dropped in temperature by, like 10 degrees. Like when we got to the party, it was like 79 degrees.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy.
I was like, okay.
The threat of rain kind of went away. So, which is the first Halloween party I can remember that we really didn't have to worry about the rain very much. Because I think the last 2 or 3 we've gone to, there's at least been a really strong chance it's going to rain the whole time. Like last year, I remember it was like looking very ominous.
Well, remember it rained last year. It rained like the first 2 hours off and on. They didn't have the first parade, and some of the shows were canceled, but then it cleared up like at 10:30.
Yeah. As it goes in Florida, if you're visiting and you're looking at the weather forecast, take them with a grain of salt either way, because it can rain out of nowhere. And then if you're, it looks like it's going to be rain no matter what, sometimes it won't, or it's really light and it goes away. I mean, there's a few times since we moved down here, you've been sort of burnt by that, where we didn't go to the beach one day because it's supposed to rain and it ends up being just completely clear. Like it's just,
it's hard to predict when
down here the storms
Florida
come in and out really quickly. So there's just something to keep in mind there. But yeah, so today we don't have any news. We're just going to talk all about Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party. Basically like what you can do, our experience there, and some things that, because obviously you can't do everything at these parties.
No.
Stuff that we didn't do, but that is an option to do.
Yeah, and we wanted to get this out on a Monday. We usually don't do Monday topic episodes, but because this is a seasonal event and that it is like limited, they had like what, 3 parties so far? 3?
Yes.
Yeah. So we figure like it would be a good idea to get the information out of what we experienced before it got too late. So here it is.
Yes. But before we get to that, if you would just subscribe and like this video if you're watching on YouTube, and if you're listening on podcast, leave a review if you wouldn't mind. That would greatly appreciate it. And on top of that, if you want even more content, you should check out Club 32, and that's our private group where we have additional shows like the Club 32 show, where we go live every week on a live stream, hang out and talk to everybody for usually an hour and a half. Sometimes about nonsense. Sometimes it's about whatever people want to talk about. If you got trips coming up, you want to help planning it, we'll do that as well. We've got some other shows. We have the Club 32 Speakeasy. We have Cool Kids Kitchen. You get 20% off of CTM apparel and 1901 Candle Company products. There's a private podcast feed, private Facebook group, and Discord. Plus, we do live streams in park, like when we were at the Halloween party. We did a couple live streams showing the parade and the fireworks and other things like that. Room tours, all sorts of things. Plus, it's a great community of people that you can get to know, and meetups and everything that we do all year long. So if you're interested in there, you can go to ctmvip.com and you can do monthly or yearly options. And if you do a yearly option, you get a free t-shirt. And if you do monthly, you can actually do a free if to see if it's for you. And but if you want to stick your toes in the water before you jump in, so you can do that. So again, ctmvip.com is where you go for that. So all right, well, let's get to I guess first we'll just talk about sort of what is Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party, just to cover all bases in case there's people listening that don't really know or just have heard about it.
Well, Jared, Mickey's
Well, Jared.
Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party is a very unspooky, not so scary celebration of the Disney Halloween season in the Magic Kingdom.
Basically, yes.
There are 38 total dates that the party is offered. Prices are lowest in August and September, and they rise as it gets closer to Halloween, with the exception of the first party on August 11th, which was more expensive because it was the first party.
Do you think they do that? We've theorized why they do that. Maybe it's because a bunch of like media.
I think that's part of it. I think being the first party, there's a lot of anticipation for it.
Right.
And so they're like, well, okay, we're going to charge more for it because people will do it.
Because it's also typically the hottest party.
Usually it was, so far, that's the case this year. It was like 99 degrees that day.
Yeah, the ball.
It was really hot.
Heat index of 105. No big deal.
Right. So dates from September 19th and beyond until I think November 1st is the last one. They're still available for a purchase except for Halloween night. The rest of the dates in August and early September are sold out. The lowest price right now for a ticket is $149 per person. Annual pass holders and DVC members do receive a discount on select nights in August and September. And just a reminder, the tickets are non-refundable. So you buy it, you're going.
Or at the very least, you're just somebody.
Or you're buying and you're not going.
Nothing's going to happen, but you're still not going to have that money. So.
Right. You buy it and it's done. It's done.
And I don't believe you can transfer them, can you?
So I don't think so. I don't think you can, but I think if it's one of those things where you have a very extenuating circumstance, you can probably contact Disney and see what they can do about it.
Right.
I mean, any event that comes about or that's a problem that you need to cancel or you need to change it, like talk to them. Like the things can always happen, but as a general rule, non-refundable.
Yeah, and the party officially lasts from 7 p.m. until midnight, but guests can enter the park as early as 4 p.m. So if you arrive between 4 to around 6, though, you're probably going to encounter a very long line to get into the park, as we encountered. I don't remember this being the case in years past, but again...
Do you want to talk about this now?
Yeah,
okay.
But I don't know if we ever got... this was the first year that we actually got here, like, really early. I think most of the time we were getting there right at the party starting or a little bit even after, just for whatever reason. But we got to the park around 4. Was it 4? Or was it 5?
We got to the bus stop at 4.
Okay. So we got there a little bit before 5 o'clock, and there was a line wrapped around, I'm trying to think how it would look when you're walking up to, you go through security, and then there was a line that sort of did a snake around the whole thing to the very far left of where you go through the turnstiles, basically.
Right. So so they made you go through security and then you had to come back out for the security back behind it.
Through a different
section and then wind around and then go into the entrance to the park. And it was just because there's so many people waiting to get into the park, they just don't have the space.
Yeah. Well, I think they're trying to keep it clear because you got people leaving and coming in, and it's just
they did a really good job of organizing. I will say, I mean, they've got this down.
They did an okay job. They weren't telling people though, like if you're coming in, like this is the line. You just assumed. So they weren't really being clear on this was the line for the Halloween party.
They had a sign. She had a big sign.
A little, but it said this way, and this way was a wide just area. And like, I'm just saying, it wasn't terrible. Like, it didn't take you're not a rocket scientist to like figure out what to do here.
Right.
But there was some confusion by people because they didn't really know necessarily which way to go and things like that. But all in all, it's a lot of people. It's a huge, like, you got people going left and right in that area.
Right. So if you're coming from the buses, you're going to go through security and then you're going to take like an immediate left out of security to get in that line. If you're coming from the ferry or the monorail, you're going to keep going to the right. You're not going to be able to enter into the gates yet. I think they still funnel you. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to go into that line as well because, again, there's so many people that have to get in. And then there's a whole section of people that are waiting to get to reservations for, like, say they're taking the bus or they're walking from Contemporary. They need to get onto the monorail. And so there's you're funneling people into the party, funneling people over into the monorail, onto the ferry. It's kind of chaotic, but for as many people and as many things that were going on, I feel like they handled it well. Apparently last year, and we don't have experience with this, but the girl behind me, and when we were in line for getting our bags checked, because I had to get my bag checked, she was saying how last year it was just chaos. Like they did not have this in place, I guess, at least when she did it. So it's okay, and it doesn't, like, the line doesn't last very long. 5 minutes maybe.
Well,
10 minutes?
We were in line for probably 15 minutes, I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a long time, but it was a slow. They would let you go in sections. I think also they were just weren't trying to overwhelm the turnstile lines, because that was going to clog
That's exactly what it was.
So,
and if you got too many people in each line, then there's nowhere for people to walk behind.
Yeah. They did. I know after we got in line, we were almost up to the turnstile. They did open up more turnstiles to the left, which I don't know why they didn't already have those open to begin with, but they did open up more as we got up there. So I think the line probably I'm sure by 4:45, I'm sure by 5 o'clock, that line was probably done. And then, but it was just the people getting there early to do it, basically. But yeah. So guests ages 14 and older at the party can wear costumes.
Usually you can't.
Right, because
usually you can't.
Yeah.
The party is the one exception. There may be another exception, but I know that during the regular park day, you cannot wear costumes if you're age 14 and older. You still can't wear, like, you can't have like weapons. You can't wear face masks that cover your face. Your costume has to be,
which is ironic to me, but.
Right. There's certain restrictions, and if you want to take a look at it, it's all on the website. But yeah, just read that. Make sure your costume passes their guidelines, because they will make you go and change.
Well, and you can't,
or they won't let you in.
Yeah, and you can't wear anything like, real revealing or very like a sexy nurse outfit, like stuff like that. Like you can't do things like that. So
right.
Just keep it that way. So once you get to the line, you go to the turnstiles. You will get a wrist ribbon this year. So it used to be a plastic band thing that you've seen probably a lot of places, and it said Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. This year it was like a ribbon that had a little clasp on it.
Yeah.
They put it on. So I think they probably did it because I think it was a little quicker to put those on versus trying to do the clasps the other way on the plastic ones.
Right. But the cast member did say she asked how old our son was, and I said he was 4, because I don't think she was wanting to give him a wristband if he was too young, because I guess the young ones are having problems with like pulling that clasp too tight, and then they have to be cut off, because the clasp, you can't loosen the clasp once it's tightened.
You can. I did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, she was just saying how, like, if it's too tight, that's not good. Like, it cuts off the circulation, and kids like to pull on it. So just keep that in mind.
I also think they did that because it was, so the way they did it, you had the ribbon, wristband, the clasp, and then it had like extra material that stuck out. And I think it's easier because they're checking wristbands at the party, like constantly, especially in the early part of the party. Because they're trying to, like, if you go into a new section, they won't let you go through there unless they see your wristband. I think it's easier for them to see it when you have like potentially a piece of material sticking out as well.
You think so?
I could see it being an easier visual thing. I kind of thought that as part of it. It could be that it was just cheaper and easier to do, or it could be a combo of both. But yeah, a little different this year on that end of things. But yeah, so basically if you're already in the park, you're at Magic Kingdom, you're still going to Halloween Party. You can pick up your wristband until 7 p.m. You just go to the front of the park. And do you have to re-enter? I'm trying to think how this works.
So, okay. Yeah. So if you're already in the park, you can pick up your wristband.
But do you have to go out and then come back in?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think you do. I think there's enough cast members out there
I think they have like a,
because they've got the cast members always come around if you have issues getting in. I think they'll send one of those people over. But I've heard people in the past, like for after hours parties, where I've been there, like they told them they had to leave and then come back in, which sounds silly, but it probably just it depends on the cast member or like whatever.
Sure. But so you can get a wristband, like you said, at the Magic Kingdom entrance turnstiles, in Fantasy Fair, at Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor, and at Tortuga Tavern. Now they don't have, like, these 4 locations, or I guess 3 locations, are only open until 7. So after that, if you're not at the party yet, or you're in the park but you haven't gotten your wristband yet or your ribbon, you'll have to go to the front. Like you have to, because they shut those other locations down.
Right.
So like once you're through the turnstiles, you've got your wristband. There is the omnibus that's out in town square that says "This way to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party," and it's a big arrow that says "Go that way," and it's pointing toward Market Street. And Market Street is the area that runs behind the confectionery, right next to Tony's Town Square.
It's the overflow area.
Yeah. And this is where you get your treat bag and your first candy of the night. This is your first trick-or-treat spot.
Yeah. And this is pretty consistent. They do this for Halloween parties. They do this for the Christmas parties where when you're coming into the park, they send you through this way. Partially, especially for the Halloween party, you get your bag on that side and it separates the party people from the
party people.
I was thinking the same thing.
Sorry.
I thought the same thing in my head.
I'm sorry.
Shows why we're married. And then from the regular park people, that I guess it just separates those out. But you end up basically over there by Tomorrowland Terrace is where you kind of come out that area. But
well, it helps with guest flow too.
Yeah,
people coming out, people going out.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's just a flow thing. But it's kind of a cool thing because you don't always get to go back there unless you're on tours or special events like that.
And back there they have the statues of the characters. They're usually just the regular ones, but during the party it's like the characters in costume. So like I know there was Minnie was a witch. She's like dressed as a witch, and I can't remember any of the other ones now, but I just remember seeing her.
I mean, you had Goofy and Pluto.
Yeah,
and
but they're all in their costumes.
Yeah, they have got different names on them and things like that. Yeah, they're a little bit different. So you
I
can
think it was Princess Minnie.
In years past, they made later. They used to have PhotoPass photographers back there that would take your picture next to the statues, but
I did not see them.
They didn't have any this year, so I don't know if they maybe do it later because we were there pretty early, so maybe they do it maybe closer to like 7:00.
Maybe I don't know.
Or maybe they don't do it at all. I don't know. But yeah, when you get to the party, it's probably a good idea to get a party guide map when you arrive, which any cast member is going to have them. You can get them where you typically find park maps when you walk into the park. But that's going to tell you all the things that you can do at the party.
Yes.
I would say most. There's a couple of things that are kind of hidden off that thing.
There's some things they don't put on there.
But for the most part, it's going to tell you like trick-or-treat stops.
They'll tell you show times, parade times, when the fireworks are, where the characters are meeting. They will not tell you what characters are meeting where, but just that there's a character meet.
Yes.
That's kind of elusive.
Yeah, right. So I guess we'll talk about it real quick. So technically when you're in the park at this time, the party has not started.
From like 4 to 7, no party stuff going on.
You're just able to get in. So all of the special overlays like the rides, some of the treat options, like not trick-or-treating, but like extra foods, items, you can get snacks. Some of those are served all day in the park anyways. They're not party exclusives.
Right. But the party exclusive ones don't start till 7.
Right. They don't start till 7. So you can get in and do things. So this is a good time, in our opinion, and I think most people's opinion, is if you want to do meet and greets. Because the meet and greets a lot of times will run early.
There's a few that do.
So, and we'll go over those right now. But during this time, basically riding, or you can ride rides. You can do normal park stuff during this time. There's nothing Halloween party exclusive in here.
Right. But if you want to do a really popular meet and greet, there are a couple that you should get in line for early. The main one is going to be Jack and Sally from Night Before Christmas. They start meeting at 4:30. Now you can line up, like technically, like get in line at 4. Now I don't know when I don't know if they'll let you hang around because I've never actually seen this. I don't know if they'll let you hang around before 4, but since most party guests will come in at 4, most people that want to meet Jack and Sally will literally go through the turnstiles and get in line immediately.
Yeah.
For that meet and greet. And that's at the Town Square Theater next to Mickey. So if you want to see them, get in line early. There's also Seven Dwarfs. Seven Dwarfs meet at 6:15, starting at 6:15, and you can get in line as early as 4 as well. That one hasn't been as popular as years prior. So I think 5 o'clock is a good time to shoot for that one to get in line if you don't want to wait very long. Winnie the Pooh and Friends, they are in their little costumes. They meet starting at 6:30. I would get in line somewhere between 5:30 and 6. That's probably a good time to shoot for. And then Elvis Stitch, or Rock and Roll Stitch, however you want to say him, he starts at 6:30, and you can probably get in line for him to at 6 o'clock. But all of these will probably end. I think those 4 will end their meet and greets at 11 p.m., not 12. Yeah, because of the long lines. So.
Yeah, and there are other meet and greets in the park as well.
Yes, those are the busy ones.
Yeah, so I know there's like Aladdin and Jafar, and there's a lot of unique ones that you don't always find.
We'll talk about those in a minute.
But those are the main ones that people have a lot of questions about. So,
yes.
So what we'll talk about now is sort of what we did, and then we'll talk about some of the stuff that we didn't do that you can still do at the party. So what's the first thing that we did?
All right. So we asked our daughter, we get in the turnstiles, we get our treat bag. It's about what, 5:15?
Yeah.
Something like that. We're like, all right, let's ride some rides. What do you want to do? She's like, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. I'm like, okay. So we head back there. And at this time, we're not wanting to do like any pictures or anything because it's still light outside. And you want the like ambiance of like the castle in the background or the there's like projections in certain places. Anyway, so we went back to Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, and the whole idea was all 4 of us were going to ride it. However, our son decided he was going to throw a fit and didn't want to ride it. So I took him to the old Laughing Place playground and let him play for a little bit while Jared and our daughter rode the ride. And how long did you guys wait for?
It said posted 35 minutes. We waited just about every bit of that,
okay.
I'd say. It was, but during that time, so during the party, there's no fast passes going. There were still fast passes going at this time.
You mean Genie Plus?
Sorry, excuse me, Genie Plus. I'm still called Fast Pass. Yeah, so it took a little longer. But once that quit running, it went through pretty quick.
Yeah, and about 5:50, I took our son over to get in line for the Pooh and Friends meet and greet, and I got in line about 6. It was between 6:05, 6:10 is by the time I actually got in line, and we were kind of wrapped around the whole, that's like that what's it called, the thought pot place, I think it's what it's called. We were around the corner and kind of right in front of Mad Tea Party until they filled the line, and then we were a little bit farther across from Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. So how long did we end up meeting, or did we end up waiting? I would say it was
probably about 45 minutes. I'd say
by the time they filled in the line and by the time they started meeting to the time we got up to meet, it was 40 minutes.
Yeah,
they started meeting at 6:30 and we met about 7:10ish, I think.
Okay, yeah.
So the whole time I waited was probably an hour for that one.
Somewhere around there.
So, but I really wanted to meet them because Tigger is in a pirate costume, Pooh is dressed as a honeybee, Piglet is a butterfly, and Eeyore is a sad clown, and they looked adorable. And lately our son has been very into Tigger, so I was like, okay, this is going to be something that he would like to do. And since it's popular and the kids were with us and everything, I thought it was a good idea. So
I'm not well, I'm just gonna say I'm not big on bears, but I did this because I love my children and my family. I was like, I suppose if we're gonna do a meet and greet, this is the one. I was like, basically I was just like, I'll do one. I don't want to wait in line, because some people, and if you want to do that, that's fine. For me, I was like, I don't want to spend the whole party meeting characters and waiting in lines. So.
But by 7:15 we were done with that character greet and the party just started.
That's true.
So that was a good thing.
I will say, I guess we should talk about the costumes we wore, just to.
Oh, I guess
it's kind
we
of
should.
funny. So our daughter, it was almost, I guess you would say this would be blasphemous in some ways, but our daughter has been just dead set on going as Princess Peach from Mario Brothers, and she enjoys us all like we do, kind of family costumes. So our daughter was Princess Peach, I was Mario, our son was Luigi, and Jamie was Toadstool.
We were.
And funny enough, the costumes were like, I kind of thought like, oh, we might get a couple of who knows how the cast members, they're not gonna like heckle you, but
gosh,
we had a ton of cast members love them. Like when we walked into the park, I remember we walked in, we got our wristband, and one of the you can always tell the management type of cast members, and he kind of like playfully goes in there, he was like, wrong park. I was like, listen, when your daughter wants to go as Mario, he goes, I get it, or so he made a joke. So we're going through, and we had people like come up to us and say, oh my gosh, we love your costume, because it was reversed, because obviously like I was a tall, I called it Mario after he ate the mushroom. I was a taller Mario, our son was little Luigi, so it was mismatched there. But I did see a couple of other Mario? Like
they weren't as good as ours.
Well,
I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be really really cocky about that. But I feel like our costumes were really really good put together.
I thought they were good. I did. I asked my daughter. Like I normally have a beard, and I actually just had grown my beard back out. It only took me 2 weeks, but to like where the length I wanted it, and I was like, "Do you want me to shave it into like a mustache?" And she was like, "Yeah." So I trimmed it. I didn't shave it. So I trimmed it to where it's sort of a mustache with like a, like still stubble. So I kind of called mine Miami Vice Mario because it wasn't clean shaven Mario. But so I had the mustache technically. And, but it was funny. We even had a cast member wanted us to sign their autograph book. Like a sweet lady on Main Street.
Oh my gosh, that was so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I think it's because the colors are so bright is one reason, because it makes you kind of stand out. Two, because Jared's tall, so he's, he stands out as well. But also, my hat was really big.
Yeah, really big hat.
My mushroom or whatever toad hat was really big, and I think it like stands out as well. Yeah. So I think those were the factors.
It was really cute. We went into, which we'll talk about, we went into the dance party at one point, and we're sitting there, and there's like you'd see little kids say like Mario, and I'd like every once in a while I'd just go like yippee or something like that, and they would walk by. So this mom walks up. And she's like, "I'm so sorry," because I would say her son's like what, 2 maybe. He was really little because he came up to me, waved me, and I was like, "Hey," and I was standing next to our son, and she's like, "I'm really sorry. He wants to give you a hug. Is that okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's fine." So he comes up and gives me. He was really a cute little boy, and then she was like, "Can I take a picture?" I'm like, "Sure." So took a picture, and then which I was like, if you do that too much, Disney watches that
like
stuff.
That.
So I was
they
like,
don't like that.
If it's whatever. Yeah. But it was fun. Like it really was. Like it wasn't one of those things where people might think like people might treat you weird or give you weird eyes. But honestly, a lot of cast members even complimented the outfit. So
yeah,
I thought it went over well. And our daughter looked just like Peach.
Oh yeah,
she had the crown and all that stuff.
Adorable.
But yeah, so just imagine we're doing all this in these outfits that we kept on all night.
Right.
So, all right. So back to what we did. So we did Pooh and Friends. Took the pictures there.
Yep.
And then it's like 7:10.
7:15, something like that.
We were obviously over there by Pooh, Mad Tea Party, and it starts its Halloween overlay where it's got music and the lighting's different.
Yeah.
For that.
It's just right there, and there was like no line. I was like, let's just do that. The kids love it. Let's just get one of the ride overlays out of the way. I want to do at least one.
Yeah.
There you go. But I, of course, can't do it. So.
And it was like legitimately a walk on.
Yeah. It was great.
Nothing there. So
that's the way I like it.
Yeah. So
but the other two overlays that are offered right now are at Space Mountain, and it's in the dark with the Halloween music, and Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor, which is just like Halloween jokes and stuff, and like they have the trick or treat station in there too. It's like it's not much.
In years past, they've done Pirates.
Not this year.
Yeah.
Pirates did not get an overlay this year. It used to have the actors inside the ride.
I don't know why they did. I mean, it's not a hard thing to do. Yeah, they'd have the actors like in line saying looking for somebody. Then there's that bridge part, and they'd have somebody up there. It wasn't like huge and elaborate. They would have people sometimes in the prison cells, like when you're in the line queue. But they didn't do that this year.
Not this year.
Yeah. So then after that, we went over and we did the trick or treat over Cosmic Rays. That was our first trick or treat stop.
Again, we're still in the same vicinity. We're going to stay there for a minute. There are 15 trick or treating candy spots this year. So we did the Market Street entrance, which we already talked about. We did Cosmic Rays. We also did Enchanted Tiki Room. There's actually 2 little areas in there that gave you candy. Tortuga Tavern and Country Bear Jamboree. Now, what is cool about this year that they haven't been doing the years past that makes it a little more, I want to say, fair?
Well, and we talked about on the show, they now use these big scoops to give you candy. So they're giving you a lot more candy. Because I will say, in years, it's been, and maybe this was a Chapek thing. I don't really know. I know in years past when we'd go to Halloween party, if you were there late, and a couple times I was, you had cast members like, hey, do you want some candy? They would fill your bag up. They would just like, take this. Like, they get it off our hands. And then the first year, it was 2021 after COVID. that was like an after hours type thing. They were a little stingy with candy. And then
here's 2 pieces.
Yeah, and then last year they were still kind of stingy, almost as if it was coming out of their salary. It was kind of strange. So then this year they made a really big point of saying they're using these scoops to give you more candy, which they did. They gave you all
so much.
I will say some cast members were giving you small scoops. Most
but still
were giving you big scoops.
Yes.
Which I think, if you're just talking from a value standpoint, making you feel like you're getting more for your money is a smart move because they get that candy in bulk. They're not paying that much for it.
Right.
And at the very least, you have people coming away from it with a lot of candy. I mean, if you would hit up all those trick-or-treat stops, you would come away with a ton of candy out of this place. So I think it's a smart move. Like and I think it's just something easy thing you can do to get people to feel like they're getting more out of it. But
yes, and the other spots you can hit are at the Tron bypass from Tomorrowland to Storybook Circus, Carousel Progress. I mentioned Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor. Storybook Circus has one by the train station, I believe. Ariel's Grotto, Gaston's Tavern, Mickey's PhilharMagic, Pinocchio Village House, Columbia Harbor House, and Tom Sawyer Island Dock, plus the ones we mentioned. And for allergy-friendly candy eaters, they will give you a teal little token that you can take to either the Liberty Square ticket office or the Main Street Chamber of Commerce to get allergy-friendly candy. And it's stuff like, they have like fruit snacks, they have like a chocolate bar kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Not chocolate, but something else. Lollipops, Smarties, stuff like that. So that is available if you need that.
Candy corn.
Candy corn.
I don't know
if candy corn was
candy
part
corn's
of
a good. Listen, candy corn, it's a goat Halloween candy.
I disagree. I don't like candy corn.
It's good stuff.
Sorry.
Just saying. All right. So then the next thing we did was the Disney Junior Jam that was going on in Cosmic Rays.
Yes. So usually what's his name? Sunny Eclipse usually is on that stage. They set up a DJ station in the area, and he was jamming. He was jamming with the Disney Junior characters, and this happens basically all night from 7 to 12. And you see characters like Fancy Nancy, Doc McStuffins, Vampirina, and Timon. It's
the same characters that are over in Hollywood Studios when they have the Disney Junior. What is that thing
Dance
called?
Party.
Well, what do they call it over there? Is it Dance Party over there too?
It's called Dance Party over there. This is Disney Junior Jam.
Okay. So it's the same characters that are in that except for Mickey that are at this one. They swap them out every 10, 15 minutes, I'd say, something usually. Like that. But I will say last year and the years past, they've done this in Storybook Circus tent.
Too hot.
Well, no airflow
no.
back there. It's just like basically you're dancing in a sauna and it's just, ugh. Versus this is in the air conditioning. Now it's a little cramped in here because it's in the restaurant. The restaurant's still going. So you do have that. But I will say it was much cooler and, it was fine. Like they've done it in here before in years past.
For the Christmas party they did.
Yeah, so different ones they have.
Well, and last year, they have the other dance party that's at Rocket Tower Plaza this year. It's called the Zombeats Bash, and that was in Cosmic Rays last year.
Okay.
So they're kind of, moving everybody around. Storybook Circus tent is now where you can meet the Seven Dwarfs. So that's why it got moved.
Gotcha. Either way, it is hot in that thing back there. But.
And do you want to talk about our daughter's dance off that one girl?
Well, she got a little bit of a dance off. So we're sitting there, and I don't know, the DJ guy was doing different things. He's interacting with the kids, and our daughter, she takes dance. She's very competitive. She takes dance, so she's dancing her hardest. She was dancing with Fancy Nancy.
How long were you there for? 30 minutes?
Probably. We're there for a bit.
Yeah.
She's dancing with Doc McStuffins, and the DJ called out this other girl saying she was doing oh my gosh, she's gonna get a contract. She's doing really good.
Best dancer.
And I don't know. You have to maybe he knew her. I don't know because he knew her name and everything. So I don't know the deal. But anyway, he said this little girl was doing really good. Well, our daughter took that as oh, okay. I guess that's a challenge. I guess we're in a dance off now because then she's next to her and she's just dancing. You can see her looking at her and just dancing. I found you and I was just our daughter's in a dance off right now, and you're like, what? I'm she's mad that the guy called out the other little girl, but so she got in a dance off for a while. Our son had nothing to do with it. He stood there, much like me, just him
and Jared, just two peas, just watching everybody dance.
He was looking at it, just look at you I'm not dancing. I don't know what you're doing here, but So we did that for a little bit. So after the dance off, and then I asked her, I go, were you dancing against the other little girl? And she's like, yeah. Did it make you mad when the girl got recognition? She goes, yeah, I was dancing better. And I'm like, I know, I get it.
Yeah.
Listen, I get it.
She is your daughter.
I get it. Anyways, if you didn't think there's competition in dance parties, then you haven't watched. What are the dance movies? What's the one where you got served?
Oh my goodness!
I never saw it, but I've heard about it.
Got served.
Yeah. So, all right. So from the dance party, we decided to try our first thing of food. This is the only food I tried. So, spoiler alert: I took the kids back earlier in the night. Jamie finished up the party. I did. So, this is the only food item that I did try. So we went over to Sleepy Hollow and got the char siu wings.
Is that how you pronounce it?
I believe. Okay. This is around $7.50. We did this, by the way. So, these were $10.99, and it was whole chicken wings.
Sleepy Hollow.
I said Sleepy Hollow.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Whole chicken wings glazed in char siu and top. I imagine you say sue like suey. Suey. And topped with chili threads and garlic. So these were whole chicken wings, so they look different than normal ones. So there was only 2. Mm-hmm. There was more than you first assumed because they're whole chicken wings. So essentially, it was more like 4 chicken wings. Okay. In a way.
Okay.
But still, for $10.99 for 4 chicken wings, it's a little steep, but okay.
I did not try this.
You didn't try these. As chicken wings go, these were not the best I've ever had, nor were they the worst. Okay. They were medium in terms of like tender, and they weren't dried out, but they weren't tender and juicy sort of thing. The char siu sauce was kind of like a teriyaki soy-based, little bit of a barbecue sauce. It was kind of hard to put my finger on it. It was okay. The first chicken wing I had I was like, okay, it's okay. And the second one I had was much worse. I don't know why. The flavoring on it was much different than the first one. So, I mean, this did have protein. I'll give it that. But I would say, all in all, I don't think the total with tax was $11.30 or $11.40, somewhere around there. I can't say I think these were worth that price. I don't think they were good enough. If they were really good, maybe you could say they were worth it, just theme park prices. But I don't think they were worth the price. I think there's better, you want to talk about snacks to get, there might be some other things to get. But it was fine. I ate them, so I did finish them. But I couldn't really taste the garlic. Okay. I will say. And they weren't spicy. That you were, the chili threads made you think it could be spicy.
They weren't hot or anything.
They weren't spicy. Yeah, so that's something to think about there. So we did that. We had a little bit of a meltdown with our daughter because hot and tired.
Hot and tired.
As kids go when you're at theme parks.
Pretty much.
It was actually really cute. She had a meltdown because she had, with her costume, she was Princess Peach and she wears white gloves. And she was heartbroken that she got dirt on her gloves. Mm-hmm. And that made her, that was tears. So it was,
poor girl.
But she did fine. She did fine with that. So after about 8:05, we did get a castle pick, which is right next to, like, from the side. Yes.
And we actually got, I don't know if we did this last year, but we got it the year before in the same spot. And it was really cool because on the side of the castle, I don't know if they do this on the front, maybe they do too, but they have a projection of ghosts, like they're traveling up the castle, like continuously. So it's a little bit of a spooky vibe. So we did some castle picks. No magic shots or anything over here.
Not this one, no.
But we wanted to get
and then our daughter, part of being like, not to be upset anymore, she wanted to get a picture with Mickey. Yes. Which is actually at the front of the park. So we kind of had to backtrack a little bit. Yes. So 8:20, we went and met Mickey, which is Sorcerer Mickey.
Sorcerer Mickey. Not really. He's more like
Magician Mickey. Sorry,
Mickey, like a spooky magician Mickey, I guess. What do you call him? But I like his costume. It's really cute. It's like purple and orange and black. So that was nice. That was fun. We barely waited for that. 5 minutes.
It said 15. I think it was 5.
Less than 15.
It was very short, which surprisingly, I thought it may be busier. But Jack and Sally was still, like, I think 90-minute wait is what it said. Yeah. And not much for Mickey Mouse there.
Right, so, right. But. And so when we came out, this is so funny. So we come out of the Town Square Theater, and as we're getting like our stuff together and the stroller, we see another family that's dressed as the Mario Brothers characters. Mm-hmm. And so it looked like a little girl, like maybe like 10. She was Toad. Mm-hmm. The mom was
Mario.
The The other
I think there was a sister. Another sister was Luigi.
And the dad was Princess Peach. Yep.
And a very close, and even said, he goes, they said they wanted to do this. I just said, I don't want to end up with being the princess. And then I guess he ended up being the princess, but it was a very similar looking dress to our daughter, but we got a picture with him.
We did get a picture really with the peaches together. I thought that was so funny. So that made our daughter feel good too.
Yeah.
So that was funny. And then, on our way out of there through Main Street, we decided to go ahead and get a magic shot picture. And there was one that I specifically wanted, and it's new this year. It's with Huey, Dewey, and Louie, like walking kind of like at the bottom of the picture and with their costumes on. It's adorable. I was like, okay, I got to get that one. And then she also had us do the floating poison apple one. We got on the side too.
And she took a lot more. She took pictures with like just our kids. And, like,
there was nobody waiting.
There really was. There was nobody. Like, everyone was kind of getting spots ready for the parade at this point.
Like, honestly, Main Street was not busy at all at this time.
And so she took her time. Like, I think we had like 50 some pictures that she took.
Is it 50?
It was a ton of. It was a ton of pictures she took. A couple with like our daughter kissing our son on the cheek, and then different ones. And then this was where we got done. There's another cast member that had us all sign her autograph book, and then they had we did get some sample popcorn. They were getting out some sample like Haunted Mansion popcorn.
Yeah, so apparently there's this new popcorn. They just put it into the confectionery called Haunted Mansion Gravedigger Popcorn Mix. It's caramel popcorn layered with Twix, M&Ms, crushed chocolate cookies, mini marshmallows, and a dark chocolate drizzle.
Yeah.
So that's what they were just handing out samples on Main Street. And I was like, this is pretty good.
Yeah.
So anyway,
it wasn't bad. We didn't buy any, but we did.
No, we were, yeah.
We did try that. And then we went from here about 8:50. We get then a trick-or-treat stop at Enchanted Tiki Room. Then we hit Tortuga Tavern, Country Bears, to my chagrin. And then right as we came out of the Country Bears trick-or-treat spot was whenever we caught the parade over, like right outside of it. So
it was like 9:10, and I heard the Headless Horseman music. I was like, oh, we turned around. I just wanted to get it real quick. And then we're like, well, I guess we'll just chill here. This is where we're going to watch the parade.
We weren't going to go anywhere anyway, so we have a stroller and it's busy. So we watched the parade from here, which there was a really nice family that let our daughter sit down low.
Yeah. Yes, he was so nice. It was this, I'm assuming he's grandpa because he was with his family.
Yeah.
He noticed that, she was shorter and it was harder for her to see. So he let her sit next to his grandkids, like on the floor or on the ground, like right by the ropes, and she could see it really well. I was like, that's so sweet. Our son did not want to move out of the stroller. We're like, okay, you chill right there. So he stayed with us, but then so we got to watch the parade right by Country Bear Jamboree, which I know is Jared's favorite place to stand.
It's a place.
It's a place.
It's a place. I was in enemy territory, but it's fine. I made it out unscathed. So at the party, they'll run the parades twice. So one's at 9:15 and another parade is at 11:15 at night. And
I knew I was going to be staying late. So I was like, okay, I want to catch the parade once at 9:15 in Frontier Lane and once on Main Street. And, one of the tips that we'll share later is to choose the second parade if you're going to wait, because it's usually less crowded. So that's why I chose it to do it. But anyway, so Frontierland is a good place to do it. Especially it's got that like spooky, Sleepy Hollow vibe. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like it feels very, very Halloween like. So,
yes. Yeah. So I guess we can talk about, there's a couple of changes in the parade, at least from the years past, that we can go over real quick.
Yeah.
So the Sanderson sisters.
Yes, they're new. You've got Daisy, Minnie, and Clarabelle as the Sanderson sisters. And it's a new float. It's like the cavalcade float that they use. It's got Mickey and Donald in the front and then Chip and Dale in the back. So they've kind of moved people around this float with the Sanderson sisters.
Yeah.
The cowgirl dancers are gone, and it's now scarecrow male dancers. Okay. Which, I mean, like, that's
yeah.
I don't know if it was a good or a bad thing, but that's just different.
Yeah. You had Goofy move to the Halloween hoedown float.
It used to be, I don't know if anybody used to be in there, or if it was Clarabelle or not.
I thought it was Clarabelle.
Was it? Okay. But that makes sense. They moved Goofy there, and they like changed some of the song to put some of his audio in it. So that's different.
Even though he's a dog, but yeah. There you go.
Horace Horse Collar joined the Country Bears right after that.
Yeah, and then Buzz Lightyear in the Incredibles section is gone now. They didn't have that at all.
Which I honestly didn't miss that.
I like the Incredibles though.
I do like both those IPs. I just didn't think it belonged in a Boo to You parade, I guess.
Well, I mean, it's I don't know as much as Spook. I mean, it depends how you look at it. It's not a giant thing. But one that I was actually pretty bummed that they took out was in the Sugar Rush section. They took Ralph out.
I thought he was in the truck. Wasn't he supposed in the truck?
He might have been supposed to be, but he wasn't in
Okay,
it. It was just a
he wasn't there.
girl driving it. So at least for us, Ralph was not in it.
Yeah.
Which, I like Ralph.
I know, me too.
He's a good bad guy. I guess
He's a good bad guy.
Then you had Ursula and Flotsam and Jetsam.
Flotsam,
excuse
Jared.
Me. They replaced the hyenas from Lion King. Mm-hmm. Cruella is now driven by her goons.
Which I saw it twice, and both times those goons, I forgot their names, Horace and something, they were amazing. And I think it was the second, was it the first? No, it was the first parade. There was a girl dressed as Cruella in the crowd, like really close to us. Mm-hmm. And they were trying to get Cruella's attention to see her. And when she saw her, it was like zoom in like daggers at this little girl like dressed as her, like, it's a joke, but it was so good. Those cast members were really good. So that was fun. Yeah.
And then you had Queen of Hearts joined by her Cards Army. Mm-hmm. And the new villains in the villain section are
Anastasia and Drizella, Gaston, Honest John, and Gideon from Pinocchio, I think. And everything else. Some people got moved around a little bit, but that's mostly the same as last year. But how do you like the parade? Do you like the parade?
It's fine. I'm not a big parade person.
Yeah,
you're
the wrong person to ask.
I mean, Boo to You will be stuck in your head for days after that because it just repeats. But it's cool. I think my favorite one was the hitchhiking ghosts one, the Haunted Mansion.
Oh float. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I thought that one was really good. But
the grave diggers for me.
Grave diggers are good.
The scraping of
I would just say the
shovels.
Haunted Mansion section is just sort of the best one.
Yeah.
But it was fine. Like again, I'm not a huge parade person, but that was my favorite section.
The floating bride.
Yeah, she was there. Yeah,
with the dancers behind her. Those are good. Oh yeah, it's awesome. It's great.
Did you like it?
Oh yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I figured as much.
Love it.
So after this, we followed the parade, which was an adventure.
All the way from Frontierland, we followed the cast members to the hub.
Yeah, the goal was to get a spot for the fireworks show, and then at that point, doing some math, our kids were done. Our kids at this point, like I guess you could say this is I don't want to say spoil, but they've seen fireworks shows before. And our daughter was just like, I don't care about it.
She was so tired.
She's like, I just want to go to bed. She was really tired. So was our son. And I was looking, it was like 10 o'clock at this point, and I was doing math. I'm like, well, we wait. And when the fireworks show's over, there's going to be a giant rush to the buses. We're probably not, the kids aren't going to get in bed till about midnight. If I leave now, we can get back to the room maybe even before 11. Kids are in bed. Like, let's just do that. And so I decided, was like, Jamie can stay. I'll take the kids back. And so I took the kids back, and we did. I mean, there was nobody hardly on our bus. We got back. I think the kids were in bed before 11 o'clock, I think. So it worked out pretty well for that. They were tired.
Yeah, you texted me about 10:45.
Yeah, we got back quick.
Yeah.
And so it was that probably worked out best for our situation. And then Jamie stayed back. So what she did after that, I don't even know.
Well, here you go, Jared. I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
So I watched the Not So Spooky Spectacular. That was the fireworks show on Cinderella's Castle. And there's something new about this show this year, I don't think. It seems very much the same as last year's.
I feel like they're mostly the same for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, it was a new show starting in 2019, I think.
Yeah, it was the first. Yeah, it was the first year. I think it was brand new in 2019, and you had COVID happen. So I saw it the first year. Yeah. That it was there, but yeah.
I will say that I really, really enjoy this fireworks show. Very projection heavy, but the projections are really cool. There's a lot of sections of it that are just very cool. Like, so there is a big Jack Skellington in the front of the castle. That's like, I guess it's like a puppet, I guess you would say. But it's like he's introducing you and he's talking to you. So you want to be close to the stage.
If you want to see him.
If you want to see him really well. So I tried to get as close as I could to see him clearly. And so that I really like that part. And then there's a part in there where I'm not going to go into it in depth, but dancing bones and skeletons. And the way they did it looked very cool on the castle. So if you get to see it or you haven't seen it before and you're wanting to see it, that's probably one of my favorite parts. So
what I remember about it was one of the better fireworks shows I've seen. I remember it was really, really impressive. So,
and they feature like Mickey and Minnie and talking about like scary and like they hear like noises and stuff. And I don't know.
It's like a haunted house, right?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So anyway, love it. It's great. It's a great fireworks show. You know, I highly recommend you see this if you go to the party. So, okay. So after that, everybody, well, I would say probably a good third of the party people will leave the park.
That's usually the case.
That's usually what happens.
Most people with kids are at least going to leave at that point.
Yeah. So there's usually a rush to get out of the park right after the fireworks are over. And so I decided that I wanted to catch the cadaver dans. And the cadaver dans are basically the Dapper Dans, but in, you know, like almost like Western zombie kind of look. And they tell jokes and they sing and it's all Halloween themed and very entertaining. And I caught just the last part of their last set. So I didn't get to see it very long, but I was glad I caught them. And they can be found right over the bridge from Tomorrowland to Adventureland. Not Tomorrowland. Frontierland to Adventureland, right next to Country Bears. Like over that bridge there. And so I caught them. And then I went to Adventureland stage and wanted to check out the Rusty Cutlass Adventureland band.
Which is who?
Which they're just a bunch of pirates that are performing songs, like folksy songs. They took like regular songs and they put like a pirate vibe to them, kind of. It was very entertaining, actually. They were funny guys. And along with that, they do have roaming pirates around there.
They do. We walked through
and that
those.
was new too.
Yeah, that was kind of, they had pirates like they were looking for treasure. They saw one guy with a map, like he's doing paces, like it's right here.
Yeah. It was like a living theater kind of thing or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was really cool. I got to walk through that.
Which reminded me, it'd be kind of cool, you know, Halloween Horror Nights, obviously a very different Halloween sort of party, but they have those scare zones. I feel like if they did, you know, not scare zones, they had some sort of like zones you walk through that are themed, that could kind of be pretty cool. But they may feel like they have too many people. But so does Halloween Horror Nights. So Halloween Horror Nights has a lot of people though too. I feel like that could be a cool addition, just have like a pirates area where it's like themed and you've got people doing things. Like I could see that being fun.
It's a different kind of party for sure.
It is. And not that you would make it scary, but you know, stuff like that I liked.
So I wanted to get one more treat item that was exclusive for the party. So I went over to the Golden Oak, and that's like a Golden Oak outpost. I'm sorry. It's over the very end of Adventureland and right across from Pecos Bills. And I wanted to try the loaded sweet potato fries. And these were $6.99. And they're basically sweet potato fries tossed in cinnamon sugar and topped with marshmallow cream, butterscotch chips, and toffee pieces.
Now, I don't know if you like this. I haven't asked you yet, but I was going to say, I remember you asked me if I wanted this, and I was like, this sounds like too much for me.
I really enjoy sweet potato fries. So I don't know if I just went in thinking like, oh, this, you know, this will be just like a side item kind of thing you'd have at a restaurant or whatever. No, this is a dessert. This is very sweet. A lot of, again, not a sugar. A lot of the butterscotch chips for me, too much. It was too much of that. If it was just the toffee and the marshmallow cream, I think I would have been okay.
Yeah, I feel like the butterscotch chips seemed like too much.
It was too much for me. Like, I know that some people really like this. Like, I was looking at what other people said because I was trying to decide what I wanted to get. And a lot of people were like, "Oh, I love this. This is great." It was too much for me. It was too much sweetness that overpowered the sweet potato fries.
Could you not like brush off the butterscotch chips?
I had to.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I did. Because I took like a couple bites just to see, and I just couldn't. So I tried to kind of eat around the butterscotch chips. So unfortunately, I did not care for this dish too much, but I'm glad I tried it. So
okay.
So after that, about 11:05, I wanted to check out the merchandise, which I hadn't done yet. And you can find the merchandise in the Emporium. And this is the party exclusive merchandise I'm talking about. You can find this in the Emporium and over at Star Traders. Star Traders doesn't have everything, but they have some items. And they have stuff like Spirit jerseys, tees, pins, mugs, hats, ears. They don't have an official regular park ears. It's the Hocus Pocus ones with the eye on them.
Okay, yeah.
Those are the only ears they had. But yeah, they didn't. I mean, I guess they had the same variety as they usually had, like back in 2019, like that variety. But there was nothing that really stuck out to me that I really wanted, except for the official party Spirit jersey. I really liked, but what's my problem with getting Spirit jerseys during the Halloween season, Jared?
Well, we can't really wear them here.
It's too hot.
Or
I would never wear them.
Yeah.
So it's bumped me out, but I was like, okay, well, at least it saves me some money. But I always got that, but I didn't. Anyway, so I looked in there, and then I was going to get my spot on Main Street to see the second parade. And so I get on Main Street, and dang it, it was busy. I was like, did everybody just wait for the second parade? Because it was really packed. So I got my spot. I got to see the Headless Horseman again, which was cool. And then I also got to see Powerline Max, which he doesn't go in Frontierland, but he does go on Main Street, and it does a performance on certain sections along Main Street and the Hub. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, this is from the Goofy movie.
You don't know about this. You can just get out.
You don't know about Powerline.
Just get on out of here.
Yes. So Max Goof impersonates Powerline, this like pop artist in this movie, and learns all the dances and songs to impress a girl, and ends up performing as him at the end of the movie. Okay. That's the basic gist of it.
The Goofy movie is prime Disney. Like prime 90s
it's
Disney.
So good.
It is.
I love that movie.
That's where Disney peaked. I'm telling you right there. It peaked there at that movie. You're like, this is prime 90s Disney, and then after that, it was never not as good.
Okay. Anyway, so he came out with a bunch of other dancers with him, and they do the if you listen to each other's heart. What's that song called?
Oh, I couldn't tell you the song.
Nor
am I going to sing it.
Well, I think it's the Eye to Eye song. So, and they bring like kids out into Main Street and have them dance with them, like do the wave,
that's cool,
the snake, all that stuff. And so it was really fun, and I'm glad I got to see that. And then, I was going to tell you also, last year I saw this same performance in front of the train station on Main Street or in Town Square. They didn't go over there this time.
Oh, okay.
So if you're over there, don't expect that to happen unless maybe they just got cut short. I don't know. But anyway, so then I watched the Boo to You parade again on Main Street, which if I had to choose between Main Street or Frontierland, I'm going to choose Main Street.
It's better ambiance. Yeah.
There's better lighting.
So why did you watch the parade a second time and you already saw it once?
Because, do you really know the real reason? Because you were vlogging it. I was live streaming it. And I didn't get to actually take like clips from my phone. I took clips on my phone. I told you that. Okay, but I wanted it on my phone on Main Street. Oh, okay. So that's why I watched it again. Oh, okay. And plus, I like it.
I did all that extra work for nothing.
No, it's not for nothing. Okay. It's on a different location. Like it looks. Okay, whatever.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, you wanted to know.
I was just asking. I don't. Yeah.
You want to know.
Okay.
So I watched the parade and of course enjoyed it, and then at midnight, which is the last thing that happens to the party, is they do the final performance of Hocus Pocus Spelltacular. And this is on the Cinderella Castle stage. They perform at 8:35, 10:45, and at midnight. And then they also have a 7:40 performance for the parties that happen in October. So for this party, there was only 3, and I caught the last one. And I don't think it's anything different than last year, but it's still a really cool show. The the women that play the Sanderson sisters are hilarious. And it incorporates a lot of the other Disney villains. And it was wonderful. Very entertaining. However, I did have a child on shoulders right in front of me. like right before it started, and I was like, God, it happened again. So I was like, come on.
I mean, it's especially if like I get you want your kid, like this is always something that people talk about, and, like people have these strong views, one way or the other. I'm like, I get you want your kid to see something, but like when you squeeze in at the last minute in front of a bunch of people and then prop your kid up on your shoulders, you're basically telling everybody behind you don't matter as much. Like, and again, there's ways, like listen, we have 2 kids. I've held our kids in ways in which they can still see the fireworks and stuff without, really impeding on other people. But that's my opinion. I think, I think it's sort of like
it's all right.
If you've got a giant balloon and you're toward the front, you're just like, don't do that. But anyways,
I know.
It happens.
I know. It's all right. It's all right.
Is it
so? So yeah. So the show was over. It was like 12:15, 12:20. And I was exhausted. My feet were killing me. The party's officially over, but there were so many people still in the park. I did try to take a few more pictures before I left and everything. And then I was out. So I got back to the hotel around 1. Around 1 o'clock.
It was close to 1.
But we were the first stop because we stayed at Caribbean Beach. We stayed in the Martinique section, and we were the first stop right after you get into Caribbean Beach. So I was like, oh, this isn't gonna be long. Thank goodness. So I was happy. But so yeah, that was the end of the night.
That was our night
for moi.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, and then real quick, we'll run through some of the new things that you can find at the party, and then we'll talk about some tips if you're going to go as well. So some new things I have. There's a virtual queue for Tron. Boarding groups open at 6 p.m. and you don't have to be in the park for this. And I'm pretty sure it was all full.
I didn't even look, but I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
Unless it's like this is your only day at Magic Kingdom for your trip or something, I don't know if I'd recommend doing this during the party because those boarding groups can be a long wait.
I mean, yeah, usually you're at least 30, 45 minutes to wait.
It depends. It depends. Yeah. But yeah, I just wouldn't recommend it. But.
Yeah. You also have the Rusty Cutlass Pirate Band, like Jamie talked about.
Yeah, the roaming pirates.
There's the roaming pirates. You have the Seven Dwarfs meet and greet. The Powerline pop-up party is new.
Yeah, so this happened at a few places. So, I talked about them being in the actual parade. Well, they advertised that they were going to be pop-up parties around the park with Powerline as well. And he popped up at Rocket Tower Plaza for where the Zombies party is, or the dance party is, the Cosmic Ray dance party with the Disney Junior characters, and then Adventureland stage. So basically anywhere where there were speakers, dancing and speakers.
Yeah.
And they were out for about 15 minutes total. So not very long between those 3 places. So like 5 minutes each, and then they were gone.
Yeah.
So if you go looking for them, it was around 7:50.
Okay.
But 7:50, 8 o'clock.
There you go. Also, the Ghost in the Graveyard is a new thing.
Yeah, that's over at Haunted Mansion, and that's Madame Carlotta, Madame Renata, and the butler. They take turns appearing in the graveyard. And this is different than last year. They used to be in front of the attraction, but I guess they moved it to where you have to be in the queue to actually see them. So
I don't think they like people probably just standing in front of the attraction.
Probably. Yeah, there was a couple of magic shots and stuff in the front, so I think that's probably why.
Yeah. You also have some table service options during the party at Cinderella's Royal Table and Be Our Guest. You could do that.
Yep. And these aren't necessarily new things, but it is an option. And again, something I don't recommend. I would not use party time to eat at table service restaurants that are always available.
Yeah, we could talk about that during the tips part. Yeah, I would agree. I don't think that's something I would personally would do. But and then last new thing is the popcorn buckets. There was Nightmare Before Christmas and the glow-in-the-dark Donald candy corn sipper as well. So
yes,
those are all the new things that you can catch. And obviously,
I think so. I think that's all the new
most
ones.
of them. And again, you're not going to be able to do everything. And when it comes to these, there's just too much stuff. But and that gets us into our next section here, which is tips for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party if you are going to go.
Yeah.
And I think the first one off the bat, just given what we just talked about, is have a plan going in and don't try and do everything, because you won't be able to. You're not going to be able to do that. There's just too much. It's designed to spread people out to do different things. So you're not going to be able to. So I would pick, if you're, we knew going in with our kid, if it was just you and I there and to cover stuff, we could split up and maybe we could get a glimpse of most of the things. But if you're going, especially with little kids as a family unit, Like, obviously, we had a little bit of a meltdown. We went and saw Mickey. Like, you're just going to have to sort of pick and choose the things you want to do.
Like, we would not have chosen to do the Disney Junior dance party. We would not have done Mad Tea Party. Like, there's a lot of things we would have done differently if it just been you and I.
Right.
So.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's probably one of the main things I'd say is, have a plan, at least to an extent. There weren't, I don't know if this is true most of the time, there weren't a lot of people around the Pirates area.
There really weren't.
And that was mostly consistent most of the nights. I don't know if maybe, when it comes to parties, a lot of people may hang out around the hub in Main Street, which,
yeah, that's true.
Again, on some of the times, Main Street was kind of empty. It just depends, but the hub's always kind of busy. There's usually music playing in there, so it may just be back there by Pirates. Other than, you don't have, Splash Mountain running back there anymore. So maybe people just don't go back in that area as much. It's darker back there too. So I don't know if it have anything to do with it. But again, at least for us, wasn't that busy there.
Another tip for me is this is kind of general. Like I talked about with the table service restaurants, and don't do that during the party. Same thing with characters that you can find during regular park hours. Like, I wouldn't go meet the princesses at Fairy Tale Hall. I would not meet them during the party. They're there during the regular day.
Right.
I wouldn't go meet Belle. I wouldn't go meet like Jasmine and Aladdin. I would go meet Jafar and the genie when they're kind of intermingled with Aladdin and Jasmine. But I like Jack Sparrow, like any of them, I would not meet that are usually already in the park for regular hours. So just FYI.
I would agree. I think typically as well, I would, if you want to see the parade, I'd wait for the second one.
Yes. I mean, like I said, it was still busy for the second one, but maybe it was just where I was standing because it was Main Street, but it just seemed like it was as busy. But I think it's a good option. If you've got stuff going on earlier in the night and you don't want to go to that first one, second one's there too. So
yeah. What I would also say on the trick or treating, I would wait. Obviously, if you have kids and you're gonna leave a little earlier, like we did, we didn't do this. But if you're wanting to sort of like, I guess, optimize your time as much as possible, I would wait and trick or treat toward the end of the night because you'll have shorter lines, less people in the park, and then you can get through. And again, you can hit up these lines multiple times. So if you really want to get a lot of candy, you can. Yeah. And like I said, in the past, when I've been there late, sometimes the cast members will just give you a bunch of candy. They're just like, take it, Yeah. So that's your goal. You can kind of make up and get a lot of candy in a very short amount of time if that's something you want to do.
Mobile ordering is not available during the party. Just FYI on that. But there are some quick service options, like locations that are open. So like Casey's Corner is open, Friar's Nook is open, Cosmic Rays is open, Pecos Bills. Basically any place that serves the special party foods are open, except for Casey's has special party food. Yeah. So if they're open for the special treats, they're going to be open for the regular menu as well.
Yeah.
Just not mobile order.
Yeah. One thing I would say in general, when it comes, if you've never done it, you may think, Halloween party, the crowds won't be as heavy or something along those lines. You may be thinking like an after hours party. That's not the case. It's just as crowded as a regular park day, if not more sometimes.
Yeah.
Granted, there's a lot of things to spread people around, and really the wait times for things weren't terrible, especially once the regular day guests kind of like, eventually what they started doing is they put cast members at all the going into the lands. So they check for wristbands. So essentially they're just eventually weeding out all the people that aren't there for the party. And then the only people left are party goers. So like if you do want to ride rides, you're not going to wait a long time in line for the most part, and most things, I would say. Yeah,
I mean, the ones that are usually have a wait, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, it always has a wait.
Right.
But Space Mountain will usually have around 30 minutes.
Yeah, I mean,
5 minutes.
For the most part, it's not terrible. Like I said, the
Yeah.
Mad Tea Party was 5 minutes.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff's going to be pretty walk on because again, there's a lot of other stuff to do.
Right.
Parades and fireworks shows and all that stuff.
Right.
But
and one other thing I want to mention is some of the characters that did not return. The Tarzan characters, Gaston did not come back for meet and greet. I think he was with Belle last year and he didn't return this year. Lotso Huggin' Bear from Toy Story 3. He was not there. And Moana. No Moana this year, which is really disappointing. I'm like, why? But then again, she's in Animal Kingdom, so maybe that's why.
Maybe.
I don't know.
But she also has a thing in Epcot coming up, so who knows?
I don't know.
She's got a lot of places to go, apparently.
Apparently.
Yeah.
So I think that, I mean, do you have any more tips that you can think of that kind of spring up while we're in the party?
There's obvious ones, like get it there as early as you can. I mean,
Right.
you know, if you can get in there by 4, I would do that.
Maximize your party day. Yeah.
And again, we were going to talk about, like, is the party worth it? And one thing I would say is you're going to get more of your money's worth getting there earlier.
Right.
A lot of the Halloween stuff doesn't start, but you can get in there and do a lot of things. And like if you do want to ride rides, you can do a lot of stuff first, and then during the Halloween party, you can do the Halloween party stuff. So it does allow you to sort of maximize time better.
So is it worth it?
As in most of the time, what I'm going to say is it depends.
Okay.
I think if you've done it before, it doesn't really change much year after year, I will say.
Not drastically.
Not drastically. So if you really enjoy it all the time, then like you'll enjoy it. It'll be fine. If you've gone before and you're like, I really think it was worth it last time, maybe stuff's changed. Not a lot of stuff changes. It's rather consistent in that way. I think you were going to bring this up, it can be worth it if you look at it in a certain way.
Well, so if you're coming on vacation and you want to use like one ticket, like day of tickets for the party, you would just get like one less day of your like park hopper or whatever and use a party ticket to get into Magic Kingdom. So you could have a full park day basically if you get there at 4 and stay till midnight.
Yeah.
It'll save you a little bit of money that way.
So in that way, I think financially speaking, you could say it's worth it and maybe even a smart play.
Yeah.
Again, the thing too about the day of parties is like during the day, typically it's not as busy because people know that it's going to be a party.
That is
so
true.
That's
it's usually pretty slow.
That's the other flip side to it is you could also do it the other way and get more of a day in and maybe write some more stuff. So it kind of depends on how you want to do it. But in that way it can be. So I think all in all, like, you know, it depends on when you go. Like for us, like if you got a family of 4, if you're going to go in October, that's really expensive.
They're $169, $189, $199.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking. If you got a family of 4, you're talking almost $800 to go.
Oh,
so in that sense, I personally speaking, I don't think it's worth that much to spend $800 for a family of 4.
Okay, that's legit.
So
that's legit.
It definitely depends on price points, your budget, all that stuff. I think going earlier, sure, you can make it. You know, it's extra to go, but I think once you start talking almost $1,000 for, even if you get the most out of the party and you get there at 4:00 and it's like 7 hours, that's a stretch. But you know, it depends on how much you really like Halloween and everything like that. So
right.
I'm just gonna give it's not the
Most
hyperbolic
popular
answer, but it's like it just depends. It really does in terms of like what you're expecting out of it and all that stuff like that. But I think in early on cases, it makes way more sense in August and early September.
Yeah, definitely if you want to save some money, do it early. You may not feel like Halloween yet, but
I will argue it doesn't at all. But
maybe
it does. I mean, they do have a good spooky vibe in there, and we didn't sweat as much as I thought we would.
I mean, that was just luck of the draw there. Yeah. Now, are you going to ask me if I think it's
so? Well, yeah,
I
assume, yeah. Do you think it's worth it?
So, yes, depending on how you feel about Halloween and if it's a major holiday for you, you like celebrating, if there are specific characters you want to see, do you enjoy parades, fireworks, and shows, then 100% should you experience this. Yes, there is a price point to it, and if you're okay paying that, then okay, the party is going to be worth it. If, like Jared said, if you've got a family of 4 or 5 and you're upwards of $1,000 just for this one party, it may be harder to stomach. I totally understand that. But there are a lot of things in this party that are exclusive to just this party. So if you're really wanting to see it, then, you know, buy the ticket at least once, at least like 1 year, buy the ticket, go see it.
Okay.
Experience the parade. I love the parade.
Okay, here's a question. If you had to choose one or the other, would you do Halloween party or Christmas party? See, I would too.
Sorry. I cut you off.
You did cut me off. That was very...
Christmas is my jam.
That was very rude.
Sorry.
I'm still asking the question, and you're still you're on the second part of the answer to my question. But I'm just going to start
I feel very strongly about Christmas, Jared.
No, I agree.
Okay.
I would choose a Christmas party over the Halloween party personally.
100%.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go into the Christmas party yet because it's not a Christmas party episode, but let's just say it's my jam. It's my jam.
Okay.
But I love this too. This is also
I
good.
suppose in
This is
some
also
way, if you wanted to justify, like, you know, from an expense perspective of getting your money's worth, you could probably trick or treat enough candy at this thing to potentially pay for giving out candy at your own house for Halloween.
Hey, bring extra bags.
So that could
Just
save
keep
you.
going through.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll ever put a stop to you. I don't know if they'll ever see you enough and say no more. But anyways, that's what I did. But yeah. The only thing I was going to add is I did some cast members and people got really confused because our son, for whatever reason, halfway, like beginning of the party, he wanted my Mario hat. He wanted to wear it. And so he has a Luigi hat. Well, as you might imagine, he's much smaller than me. So I was sort of wearing an ill-fitting Luigi hat. And people were very confused. Like one of the cast members was like, I don't get it. I'm like, my son took that.
Well, part of the time was you weren't with us. It
Right.
was just you and Princess Peach over there.
Yeah.
And
So I was
they're
wearing a Mario outfit with the Luigi hat. And people,
what statement are you making,
like I walked
sir?
in, this guy goes, I don't get it. And it was a cast member. And I was like, I have a 4-year-old son. He swapped hats. And he was like, oh. I was like, you don't have kids. But so, yeah. So the part of the night, it was, I don't know, people thought I was making some strange statement. Like my head is Luigi, but my body's Mario. But anyways. So, but yeah. So other than that, I mean, it was a good time. I had fun. I think our costumes, although not Disney, I think they were a big hit. Yeah. So it was fun. It always is fun.
It was fun.
And
I loved it.
Our kids, other than, you know, the kids get tired kind of quickly. And even our daughter was just like, even the lure of candy. She was like, I just want to go to bed. I'm like,
she's so tired.
Okay. So,
but I want to say that if you're watching this video, you can see the shirts that Jared and I are wearing, and they're kind of in support of the party. We've got Headless Horseman on Jared, and I'm wearing a Black Flame Candle one over here for me.
Yeah, and there's going to be 2 or 3 other Halloween ones getting released. We don't have them to wear yet, but there's another Haunted Mansion one, and then there's actually another Black Flame one, and maybe one other one. So there'll be some Halloween shirts that we are coming out with. They will hopefully, I think they should be live this week. So it'd be ctmshirts.com. You can check them out. But when they are live, we'll for sure talk about them in the Capture the Magic Facebook community.
Yes.
And also on Instagram at Cap the Magic. We will post them in there.
So you should also join those 2 social media groups and TikTok.
Well, technically, Instagram is not a group. I mean, you just follow us.
You know what I mean. Social media accounts.
Yes. On all of them.
As well as YouTube. We've got 2 different channels. What are they again? You're going to have to remind me every time.
Them?
Cap the Magic.
Cap the Magic is the main one. So Cap the
Yes.
Magic is where we do vlogs and sort of short form videos. Like we've been doing some Epic Universe construction videos. Plus we have the vlogs, which we will have a vlog talking where we our experience, firsthand experience at the Halloween party. So that
we'll have that come out this week.
Yes, it'll be out this week. And on the other channel is at CTM Podcast. We have video versions of the podcast with show clips. So if you'd rather watch the show or you do both, subscribe to both of those, and we would greatly appreciate it. The CTM Podcast one's brand new, so it doesn't have a lot of subscribers. So if you want to go over there, we'd greatly appreciate that. And so be sure to also check us, like Jamie said, social media. We're at Cap the Magic everywhere except for TikTok. We're at Capture the Magic. And we'll have some more. I'm sure we'll have some reels come out for the Halloween party and show clips and stuff like that on there. And if you want even more content from us, we have the CTM Universal Show, which is twice a month now.
Yes.
Where we talk about Universal Studios. And the last episode we had there was last Monday, where we actually talked about the other Halloween party, which is Halloween Horror Nights, which is a much different Halloween party that goes on at Universal Studios. We did a preview for that, so what you can expect from there. So go check that out. And that's on its own feed or on this feed as well. So whichever way you want to listen to that, if you want to subscribe over there. And then Jamie has Trip Tales, which is her Trip Report show. And there'll be a new one coming out
next Monday.
And that is a very long form show where, you know, people go on trips and then they talk about it in great detail. So if there's enough people that have gone on trips on there, you can probably find somebody in a very similar situation, get some firsthand information and stuff like that. So
yeah.
And if you want even more content, Club 32, we got extra shows, live streams, and everything like that in there. So you would go to ctmvip.com to go check that out. So, all right. Well, I think that will do it for the show. So unless you have anything else you want to add about Halloween party.
I loved it. It was super fun. I wish I could do it again, but I'm excited for Christmas as well. So
Are you already?
No,
You're already in Christmas mode?
No, I'm not. What I'm saying
I'm gonna stop this madness.
No, what I'm saying is like with Christmas, there's the Jollywood Nights, which is new, which we're doing. Well, that's what I'm doing. But there's also the Christmas party. So it's like there's a lot of Christmas stuff coming up. So Halloween, while I love you, Halloween at Disney, I'm just gonna I'm looking forward to Christmas because it's my favorite.
Agreed. I like Christmas.
Happy Halloween.
I like Halloween because it's like fall. Like that is for
fall.
sure. It's fall.
Absolutely.
And I love fall, but I can't say that I like Halloween anywhere close to Christmas.
Anyway, thanks for watching.
Yeah,
thanks
and
for
I
listening.
have nothing else to add as well. But yeah, so that'll do it. So yeah. I forget how to segue out of this because I interrupted my own flow. But thank you, Jamie, for joining us. That's what it is. And thank you for listening. And as Jamie always likes to say,
we will see you in the parks.
Bye.